Ready, Pam? 3, 2, 1, and...
For more than 2 decades, New York-based law firm Morgan, Yates & Cohn has been among the most successful and the most controversial companies in the United States. Founded in the greed is good downtown era of the mid-1980s by Kenneth Morgan, Don Yates, and Theodore Cohn, the firm quickly amassed an impressive client roster, counting such corporate behemoths as Top Investment Bank, Milton Fitzpatrick, and Van Orton Tobacco. A reputation for ruthlessness and dirty tactics, no doubt originating with the notorious affluenza defense of murderous socialite Chelsea Whitmore, has long stuck to their name. But despite the persistent outrage of progressives, the firm has enjoyed a seemingly never-ending streak of successes and legal triumphs. This, however, may be changing. Just a few months ago, senior partner Ken Morgan passed away unexpectedly at the HITMAN Hotel in Bangkok. And now, another of the founding partners, Don Archibald Yates, in front of whose Argentinian vineyard I am currently standing, has announced his retirement from the firm. And so, the burning question in the upper echelons of corporate America is this: has Morgan, Yates & Cohn finally run out of steam? I am Pam Kingsley, reporting live from Mendoza, Argentina, on GNN News.
And...
For more than 2 decades, New York-based law firm Morgan, Yates & Co.
Oh, cut! Neil, what's this asshole doing in my shot?
I'm sure the gentleman didn't mean to, Pam. Isn't that right, mister?
Jeez, can you believe these people? Think the whole world is their playground.
Don't let him get to you, Pam. Let's just take it from the top.
Fine, you're right.
Ready, Pam? 3, 2, 1, and...
Hey, asshole! What the hell is wrong with you? Go away!
Don't give him the satisfaction, Pam. He's clearly a jerk. Let's just go for a break.
Unbelievable.
Valentina must be over the moon about Don stepping down. She's been living alone here for, what, 6 years? Ever since the scandal that ruined her career.
Are you kidding? That's the perfect marriage.
Well, I'm sorry to burst your bubble of finely aged cynicism, but the Yateses are genuinely crazy about each other. They're the proverbial power couple. Valentina was always Don's most trusted advisor and vice versa. Some say she's the brains behind some of his most famous court strategies.
Huh. Talk about insult to injury.
What do you mean?
Oh, it's just that one of Yates's clients is the rival to the Semaphore phone company, which got exposed in the data leak that ruined Valentina's career. In fact, Yates would have lost his first high-profile case had it not happened. I guess her loss was his gain.
Huh. Didn't know about that. Well, I guess if they can survive that, they can survive anything.
Except retirement.
No way. Guys like Yates don't retire. He can pretend he's going to be a full-time winemaker, but if he's leaving Morgan, Yates & Cohn, it's because he has a better offer.
He's a founding partner in the most powerful law firm on earth. How'd you top that?
All I know is he's been burning the midnight oil and he's not prepping for a case. Yates isn't winding down, he's gearing up. Some kind of private consultant job, perhaps? Mafia consigliere? Papal advisor?
Honestly, if Don Yates walks into a church, I'm fairly sure he'll burst into flames.
Is everything all right?
Oh my gosh, be careful. The ground's super loose here. If we fall, we're going to seem like such idiots.
We won't fall. We just need to get the peak and we are good. And look at that gorgeous view. You know it will be worth it. Everyone's going to be beyond jealous.
Oh, you're so right. The colours alone and the lighting. Could you ask for better lighting in a million years? It's like golden hour times 20.
I'm not going to lie, though. This gravel is making me really nervous.
Yeah, same. We just have to get the right framing, though, and snap it, and then I can liquefy our jawlines a bit so we're snatched, and then we can go.
Right. Super quick.
I was worried half to death when you didn't show up at the club last Saturday, you know? You shouldn't just drop a habit like that without warning people.
It's nothing to worry about. I had to postpone my flight home by a couple of days to resolve a little last-minute crisis. I'm sorry you were waiting for me.
I understand. You know I do. But Emilia, she really had a heart set on seeing you.
Don't baby the child. Life is full of disappointments. It's healthy for her to get used to them now.
Flames.
Why weren't you at the club last weekend? You never miss a Saturday. I nearly assumed the worst.
Ah, sorry. I had to spend a few days in Arizona helping with an emergency top-down reorganization. I had about as much advance warning on the matter as you, if it's any consolation.
Uh-huh, okay. I told Emilia you were probably working, but it was such a letdown for her.
How old is she now? 10? I'm sure she'll be fine. You know I never wanted to be a helicopter parent.
I didn't see you at the club last weekend. I was worried sick. I know you never miss a Saturday if you can help it.
Something came up. What do you want me to say?
Ah, that explains it. I did mention to Emilia that you were probably busy, but she still took it quite hard.
I'm sure she's over it. It's not healthy for a child to be that attached to their parents anyway.
Is everything all right? I was looking for you at the club last Saturday, but the doorman said you hadn't been there all day. I was sure he was lying, but the concierge told me the same thing.
Shit. I would have left a message with the front desk if I'd known you'd be looking for me. A case came up, needed some urgent attention. My hands were tied.
Of course. I assumed it must have been something like that. Emilia took it rather hard, though. She hasn't seen you in ages.
She'll be fine. Moments like this build a child's character.
You know, I was really looking forward to seeing you at the club last weekend. It was so disappointing when you didn't show up. And so unlike you. When was the last time you missed a Saturday?
Oh, I'm sorry. If I'd known you were waiting, I would have called and let someone know. Something came up at the office. It couldn't be helped.
Okay, I understand. Emilia was heartbroken, though. You know how she looks forward to running into you.
You and I both agreed that we didn't want to be as smothering as our own parents were. Whether she knows it or not, the girl needs a space. She'll thank me when she's older.
Flames.
I was expecting you at the club on Saturday, you know?
Shit, sorry. I should have called. Something came up.
Of course. It was difficult for Emilia, though. I know I shouldn't have, but I promised you'd be there to have lunch with her.
I'm sure she's fine. She's our daughter, after all. She's not going to be wounded that easily.
Thank God it's finally over. That extra security detail was driving my wife and kids crazy.
We lucked out. Heralds say a handful of operatives were lost, but I figure they're downplaying. We've all seen the news. Lots of power players dropping like flies. But as long as we don't know who everybody else is, it's hard to call their bullshit. How did they recruit you?
I was approached by the old constant during my senior year, like my thesis on plutocracy. Got me a position with Chef Amour, then Morgan, Yates & Cohn, then Hampson Oil. I must have skipped 20 years of corporate climbing. Before I knew it, I was Secretary of State. And all I had to do was answer the occasional call, do the occasional favor. Seemed a sweet deal at the time. You?
My tech startup was caught up in a losing fight with one of the big five. I won't mention any names. Then a herald shows up. Says he represents a kind of corporate superstructure that is willing to acquire my startup and cover the cost of the lawsuit without asking a single share in return. All I would have to do... well, you know the rest.
I'm reasonably sure I helped get Richard Quincy elected, securing Providence access to the country's rhodium mines. But the heralds never reveal their grand scheme, do they? So there's no way to say for sure. Sometimes I find myself wanting to know what I've been accessory to over the years. Other times?
I hear you. Ignorance is bliss.
It's the damnedest thing, to be sure, like a Golden Age detective novel. First, an old money aristocrat dies, who just happens to control half the world's shipping enterprises. Then, on the night of her funeral, mind you, the younger sibling is murdered in his sleep, surrounded by his closest kin. And the motive? Well, this, as they say, is where the plot thickens. things. See?
Wait, don't spoil it. I'm waiting for the true crime podcast.
Oh, you won't have to wait long. We just secured the publishing rights. I got the author of the Jack Sparta novels to do an adaptation based on the testimony of the PI who cracked the case.
That was fast. I'd expect a prolonged bidding war.
As it turns out, the family is strapped for cash. The Carlyles have had a rough year.
Oh, one of the most gifted surveillance specialists ever to graduate from Kent. Ran one of our interrogation black sites for a while, and I tell you, those prisoners folded like lawn chairs. I couldn't believe it when she left the agency to go into politics, of all things.
Well, Vidal is nothing if not unpredictable.
I'd read her file, of course. Parents were political, fought on the side of the junta. And Tamara always was a firebrand. Still, talk about wasted potential.
Well, you'll be happy to know that she still dabbles in the dark arts.
Oh? How's that?
You already know Kronstadt R&D invests heavily in surveillance tech. Well, I probably shouldn't be telling you this, but Tamara Vidal represents one of our biggest private sponsors, and she's been instrumental in developing a cutting-edge new line of nanodrones.
Is that a fact? And who might this client be?
You're the CIA. You figure it out. All I know is she played an unusually hands-on role as a technical advisor. Hell, I wouldn't be surprised if she had her tiny spies buzzing around this place, recording everything we say.
Balls. I miss the Cold War.
That woman. I think I've seen her somewhere before. Oh, I've got it. Didn't she used to be one of the pages? My God, I always thought she was a little too close to the senators. I should slap that glass right out of her hand.
Are you sure? Wasn't she a blonde? And I thought she was a little taller. It doesn't look like her at all to me.
What are you saying? You think I would just fly off the handle at someone if I wasn't completely positive they were whoever I thought they were?
I do wish you'd just dance with me, dear.
Oh my God, I think I know that woman. She outbid me at the embassy's holiday charity auction. I can't believe she's here. I could just wring her neck.
I don't see the resemblance. I suppose she might have gotten some work done, but it's just as likely that's someone else, isn't it?
Oh, please. Do you think I wouldn't recognize someone who made that much of an impression? You know how good I am with faces.
It's not worth spoiling a lovely evening over. Just try to think about something else.
Remember that little tart who was working for your uncle right around the time the contents of the family safe went missing? Looks like she's come up in the world. Probably after a favorable marriage or two. Do you want to throttle her, or should I?
I don't think that's her. I suppose I can't rule it out, but it does seem like a bit of a stretch. I mean, she's got her back to us, for God's sake.
I can see her perfectly clearly, and I'm absolutely positive it's her. I've never been more certain of anything in my life.
Either way, the last thing anyone wants today is a big scene, all right? Don't give her the satisfaction of embarrassing yourself over ancient history.
You're going to have to hold me back. I did not realize that Charmaine was going to be coming, and I'm fairly sure. Well, it's been 10 years, but I'd know her anywhere.
Easy, easy. Are you even sure it's her? She might just be some poor woman with the same nose.
This is exactly what I keep talking about. You never have my back. You're never in my corner. I don't care. I know it's her. Full stop.
This is exactly why we only ever get white wine at home. Red makes you so testy.
Oh, that bitch. It's that woman. The one who sniped that spot out from under us at the preparatory preschool you picked out. Oh, I could just scratch her eyes out. How much do you think she paid that registrar? Obviously more than our bid.
I do hate to bring this up, but isn't that exactly what you said before you backhanded that poor woman at the theater?
I'm positive it's her. Why are you being so timid? I would have thought you'd be even more eager than me to take that little weasel down a few pegs.
Maybe it is her and maybe it isn't. We don't need to give her any more power over us either way, now do we? So let's just try to forget she's here, enjoy our wine, and watch the dancers.
You're never going to guess who else is here. It's that little piece of work who broke up Sharon's marriage. And have you seen whose arm she's on? I swear she has no decency.
I think you're overreacting a little. It's not like she killed anyone, is it? Besides, it might not even be her.
What are you saying? You think I would just fly off the handle at someone if I wasn't completely positive they were whoever I thought they were?
I do wish you'd just dance with me, dear.
Do you know, I saw you in the parking lot earlier and almost didn't even recognize you. No joke. Did you get your fillers dissolved or something? Oh, whatever it is, you look fantastic.
Oh, you're so sweet. I've actually been adding a new nutrition powder into my mealtime smoothies. I mean, I still put the others in there too, but there's this one they just released called Star Bomb, and I am in love with it. It has marine invertebrate protein and meteorite dust, and it tastes absolutely awful. But I just throw in a couple extra acai berries to balance it out.
Oh gosh, I don't think I'll ever have that kind of discipline. Hey, that wasn't too nosy of me, was it? Sorry if it was. I've always been so lousy at knowing where to draw that line.
Oh, sweetheart, it's fine. You worry too much. The nosiness just shows that you care. It's truly flattering. And God knows how I love to talk about these kinds of things.
God, I've been dying to ask you what you're doing to get your skin so glossy and glowy. Is it water? Oh, tell me it's not. I can't do the 8 glasses thing. I've got the bladder capacity of a gerbil.
Oh, stop. You're making me blush. Honestly, it's just good genes. Though, just between you and me, I've been alternating between cryo and vampire facials every other week. Blood and ice. It tightens everything up like you wouldn't even believe.
You know, that makes so much sense. Sorry for prying. I'd have been kicking myself all night if I didn't bring it up, though.
No, don't worry. I've been dying to talk to someone about it. You're the first person here who's even bothered to ask.
I can't tell who's more radiant, you or the sun. Oh, you have to tell me what you're doing. I refuse to leave you alone until I've got every last detail.
I'm so flattered that you noticed. I really amped up the amount of retinoids in my night routine, and I think it's making a huge difference.
Well, it certainly sounds like you've been busy. I'm sorry for prying, by the way. A girl's entitled to her secrets, but I really just had to know.
I understand completely. I would do the exact same thing in your shoes. Those crow's feet.
You're absolutely glowing today. I've never been so jealous in my life. What's your secret? AHA? BHA? Colloidal gold?
Thank you so much. God, you're so sweet to ask. I actually just rebuilt my entire skincare regimen around the 3 C's. Vitamin C, ceramides, and copper peptides. It's been an utter revelation.
I was really hoping you'd say vodka and sleeping in your makeup played a slightly bigger part in it, but that's probably unrealistic, huh? Sorry to pry either way. I just had to know.
Oh, no, I'm glad you did. You know how much I love to proselytize.
Oh my God, have I told you how stunning you look yet? It's like you invented that whole glass skin trend. You must be so hydrated.
Oh, you know the routine. Gym, breakfast, emails, gym, lunch, gym, more emails, dinner, and of course, I go to bed at 8 p.m. sharp.
You always did know how to really pamper yourself. I hope you don't think I was being a snoop or anything like that, but you know me. I can't stand a mystery. I've always got to know the answers.
It's so cute to me that you still worry about things like that. Oh, you're really good to a fault, aren't you?
You're looking so radiant today. Have you been doing something new, or is that just the early retirement glow?
It's actually nothing dramatic. I've been doing a lot of work from the inside out. I do my morning affirmations in my soul planner, then I update my daily vision panel. I put some time into my gratitude journal a couple times a day too, because I'm really trying to be more mindful this year. Then at the end of the night, I fill a page in my book of grievances and then burn it and put the ashes under my pillow. It's a lot of work, actually.
Oh, you know, I think I heard about that one from my life coach, but I take your word over his any day. Anyway, I hope that wasn't too nosy. I promise I don't want to steal all your beauty secrets.
Oh, please, you're hardly interrogating me at gunpoint. If I didn't want to share, I wouldn't have.
I've been meaning to ask you if you could give me the name of the artisan you hired to carve out that relief for your garden. You know how much Mother adores it. I was hoping to commission something similar for her 80th birthday.
All right there.
I'm so happy you like it, and I'd love to help you, but it wouldn't be nearly as special if everyone had one, would it?
Christ, seriously? You're unbelievable.
Don't worry, I'm sure you'll find someone comparable.
I've been meaning to ask if you could connect me with your portraitist. That cubist image of you and your late parents is transfixing. I haven't been able to stop thinking about it since I saw it last.
I'm sorry, their names slipped my mind.
What? There's no way you're serious.
He was hardly the only talent in the field. I'm sure you'll find someone.
I saw those stunning pictures of the fresco you commissioned for your son's nursery. Gorgeous stuff. I'd love to have something similar done in my media room. Would you be able to forward me the artist's contact information?
You know I'd love to share, but if I told you, then you'd probably tell someone else, and they would tell someone after that, and pretty soon mine would just be one more in the crowd. You understand, yes?
Seriously? You really won't even tell me?
Don't take it personally.
You have no idea how glad I am to see you. Mother's been nagging me no end to ask where you found that muralist who worked on your foyer. Do you still have their card?
Oh, damn it. You know, I think I threw their information out when we did our big minimalism purge.
Oh, for God's sake, are you serious?
Oh, I'm very serious.
Do you recall the name of the artisan who designed that bespoke reclaimed wood dining table for you? Serenity's been asking for something similar, and I'm sure the fella would appreciate the work.
Oh, you know I would love to tell you, but if I did, mine wouldn't be so unique anymore, now would it?
Seriously? Why are you like this?
You're a resourceful man. You'll manage.
I saw the photos of your new rose garden. Really exceptional, I must say. The Middle Eastern influence of the paths in particular, just exquisite. You have to tell me the name of your landscape designer. I'd love to have them remake our back garden.
Of course I'd help you if I could, but I believe he died just after he completed our project. Very unfortunate. But at least he went out on a high note.
What? You can't be serious.
I'm sure you'll figure something out.
See that guy over there? That's Don Yates' fixer from New York.
That is Corvo Black?
Don't stare. He's busted heads for less. The man's a beast.
Oh, I know the stories. Started out in narcotics, got fired for misconduct, not to mention headbutting an internal affairs officer. He turned PI and eventually wound up on the payroll of Morgan, Yates & Cohen as an investigative consultant.
Right. Evidence tampering. Witness intimidation. The odd bit of B&E. A regular jack of all trades. I take it you heard about Reggie West's hit and run? Nasty business. But I suppose everybody needs a Corvo now and then.
Wonder what he's doing here, though, at Yates' retirement party.
Yates is the kind of man who keeps his enemies close. I figure old Corvo is not here for the hors d'oeuvre.
Nothing quite spoils a party like your guests inexplicably dropping dead. Who were they again?
Couple of old money scions, Ingram and something Dutch sounding. I bet Sheikh Al-Ghazali was the real target. Everyone knows the family funds terrorism. Did you see any of it happen?
No, they were discreet about it. I caught a glimpse of a body bag, but that's about it. It was only when someone realized that the elevators had stopped working that the word caught on. Imagine all those socialites descending 200 flights of stairs on foot.
Guess all those personal trainers finally paid off.
PTSD, huh? You buy it?
It's not unreasonable. Think about it. Duval was kidnapped by the militia and held hostage for weeks. He was forced at gunpoint to disclose the existence of Providence in a public broadcast. And those animals would probably have executed him like they did Thomas Cross if our security team hadn't broken him free. I would need therapy.
So, Duval survives just long enough to retract his statement, appoint a Providence-backed successor as CEO of Ether, and then he accidentally slips in his bathtub during an anxiety attack?
It's odd, I don't deny it. But take Godfrey. Now, he's gotten it into his head that the partners are all somehow dead, and that the Constant runs Providence in their place. Conspiratorial thinking is a rabbit hole, my friend.
But if they murdered him, Duvall was a rat, but he had no choice.
He did. Just not a very attractive one.
Shoe leather? Plums? Is that raspberry?
It's all right.
Wonderfully fruity, with an excellent body.
I don't know how you're missing that cacao nib moment it has at the back of the throat. It's almost overwhelming. You must not be swirling your glass enough.
Make up for it.
Well, right out of the gate, I'm getting impressions of Saskatoon berry with a sort of syrupy note just on its tail. Then, goodness, just a hint of leaves. Would you say?
And if I'm not mistaken, there's a sort of, well, it's almost like a new shirt, isn't it? Like linen or cotton, maybe? It's very crisp.
Our cabinet.
Everything you said.
What do you think? Smoke? Field berries? Maybe... I can't quite place it. Charred earth. That might be it.
I'm surprised you didn't mention the tobacco notes at all. Make sure you're paying attention to the sides of your palate. This wine really takes advantage of them.
Call it gravel?
The tannins really occupy the middle of the palate, don't they? With a very earthy hit on the way down.
It really stays with you too, doesn't it? That candied cherry flavor especially. It's practically a dessert.
Cabernet Sauvignon. As you know, this grape is known and grown the world over, but you should find that ours distinguish themselves very quickly. You'll want to pay attention to the sides and back of the palate to fully appreciate the earthier flavors present, including signature notes of firewood and mushrooms. Oh, this is precisely my kind of wine. Full, sweet, with just a bit of pepper to keep me on my toes.
It's so leather forward, though, don't you think? Perhaps a little gunpowder for that matter?
Shoe leather?
Our Cabernet Sauvignon is renowned for its complexity. You're likely to recognize notes of raisin and blackberry first, but if you nurture the taste on your palate a little longer, well, I believe you'll be pleasantly surprised. It's not doing as much as I would like on the sides of my palate, is it? She's all front and middle, just a burst, and then she's finished with me.
Well, it makes me think of my college days, mixing up fraternity sangria for homecoming.
What are you?
Here we have a Cabernet Sauvignon. A particularly worldly variety, you'll find that our grapes provide a slightly more pronounced acidity with more notes of red fruit and less of an emphasis on darker, plummier flavors. Ooh, the legs on this one are quite something, don't you think?
I find myself wishing it was a little more dry, but the tannins almost make up for it.
Well.
Cabernet Sauvignon. As you know, this grape is known and grown the world over, but you should find that ours distinguish themselves very quickly. You'll want to pay attention to the sides and back of the palate to fully appreciate the earthier flavors present, including signature notes of firewood and mushrooms. Did you taste that? Raspberries, blackberries, I do struggle to pin down the difference sometimes. Maybe it's more of a black raspberry, actually.
I could do without that note of... what would you call it? Gravel?
Wonderfully fruity.
Our Cabernet Sauvignon is renowned for its complexity. You're likely to recognize notes of raisin and blackberry first, but if you nurture the taste on your palate a little longer, well, I believe you'll be pleasantly surprised. She's got quite the body on her, doesn't she?
And those notes of tobacco? I'd go so far as to say they're akin to Acadian perique.
Blackberry.
Raphael!
Yeah, I'm there. Yeah, no, it's great. I'm having I'm having a great time. Oh, the Malbec. Yeah, the Malbec that's just as good as you said it would be. I don't know how you do this. I'm trying, but I keep getting sick. Well, yeah, I swirl it, I smell it, I drink it, yeah. Well, yeah, I swish. Of course I swish. I'm not some clod off the street. What? Spit? Well, why would I spit? That's so wasteful. But you know how much work goes into making a single bottle of this stuff? How much energy? Why would I drink it if I'm just gonna spit it out afterwards? Well, why? It just seems disrespectful. Raph? I don't know that I want to risk slighting any of the staff. Wait, maybe I'll just try to pace myself more. That should help. Yeah. Oh, yeah, I'll let you know how it goes. Oh, yeah. Talk to you later. Oh, come on. Seriously? Not today. Not today, Satan. No.
The constant works in mysterious ways. I just don't get his fascination with this Burnwood woman.
She is brilliant. Perhaps even his equal.
So? All the more reason to keep her at arm's length.
That's not how he sees it. Burnwood is passionate, and passion can be directed. People who want to change the world are the easiest to corrupt.
I say it's a trick. He wants something from her. Probably that assassin of hers.
Nah, there's more to it. Burnwood went up against the Constant and lost. But she came too close for comfort, and now winning is not enough. He doesn't just need to beat her, he needs to convert her.
Sounds like an unhealthy fixation, if you ask me. She kidnapped him, for Christ's sakes. You sure it's not just a case of Stockholm Syndrome?
Oh, this is the Constant we're talking about. Don't worry. He's got Vidal watching Burnwood's every move. That girl has eyes in places I didn't even know existed.
That's something at least. What do we even call him now? We'll have a new Constant soon, and partner doesn't make sense when it's only him.
I'm sure he has something in mind. I take it he told you about the new policy.
Thought he was joking at first, but I do take his point. The West doesn't call the shots like it used to. Whole new power dynamics popping up left and right. There are other groups emerging, faster, meaner, hungrier. If we want to stay relevant, we need a new edge.
There's a reason Providence has been able to stay hidden for so long. The partners were all about the long game. Cold War spycraft meets mafia-style quid pro quo. They flat out rejected the Constant's plan when he first proposed it. Called it foolhardy.
You can't resist an idea whose time has come. Thanks to Ether's all-popular genome mapping service, we basically have the DNA of the world elite on ice now. Why spend years creating the leaders of tomorrow when we can just blackmail and coerce the leaders of today?
And I suppose now we know what that DNA-specific ether virus was really for. Christ. Did he plan this whole thing years ago? Did he see it all coming?
Oh, part of me wants that to be true. I'll sleep a lot better knowing he's infallible. Carl Ingram I knew about. Back when I lobbied for Milton Fitzpatrick, he was the conservative kingmaker in D.C. Never mind your accolades or pedigree, anyone gunning for office would have to pay fealty to the old bastard. But Stuyvesant and Carlisle?
The names are everywhere you look. Museum wings, concert halls, private foundations and scholarships. We just never noticed before.
It's true. If you're not in the media, you don't exist.
A few generations ago, though, they were the talk of the town, on a par with the Rockefellers and the Astors.
I just can't help but be a little disappointed. All this time wondering who the partners were, playing the guessing game, I was expecting more of a holy shit reveal. Presidents and kings sort of thing. You know what the Stuyvesant's primary field of income was last year? Insurance.
Just goes to show. Empty vessels make the loudest sound.
CEO of Kronstadt. I dare say congratulations are in order.
Close call, though. I was third in the line of succession, after Robert and Sierra Knox. But then the pesky Kronstadt Board of Directors decided to hire an outsider. Former chair of the Applied Science Division at Caltech with a rep for being uncorruptible. With her at the helm, our friends would have lost control of Kronstadt altogether. Luckily for us, she went and wrapped her car around a tree. Brakes, apparently.
That is
Hello.
fortuitous.
Anyway, Kronstadt stays in the family, same as the other assets.
So the heralds keep telling us. By their account, those terrorists barely made a scratch.
You don't sound convinced.
How are we to tell when we don't know who's who? No, I don't believe the Constant had this situation under control. I even hear he was kidnapped.
He must have done something right. Wouldn't have been promoted to partner otherwise.
I suppose. Don't really care either way. Providence paved my way, and I'm grateful, but I paid my dues. If they were to disappear, the sun would still rise tomorrow, and I would still be governor.
What are we doing here, Dexy?
Monumental Records are longtime clients of Morgan Yates and Cohn. I thought we'd come show Don our support.
He's a blood-sucking leech. He's like evil incarnate.
A free bar is a free bar, Heidi.
How is any of this relevant to our promotional tour?
The class always had a strong following in Buenos Aires. You and Quentin have a 52% recognition rate. That's impressive in a fragmented post-monocultural market. Especially since Jordan was always the front man.
We're not the class, Dexy. We're...
the band formerly known as The Class, minus Jordan Cross. That's the reality, Heidi. You don't like it? We can still accept the live gig with Serafina. She plays arenas. It's good, steady money.
Pass. I do have a shred of dignity left.
Oh, yeah? Want me to hold on to that for you?
Screw you, Dexy.
It'll be fine, dear. You'll get a hit and make lots of money. Hell, you might even see some of it once Quantum Leap and Dynasty Global and all other streaming platforms have taken their share. You just smile and do what rock stars do best, dear.
Yeah? What's that?
Get drunk on somebody else's dime.
This place has so much in common.
I tell you, whoever thought they were doing the world a favor by bumping off Rico Delgado and his fixer, Andrea Martinez, needs a crash course in history.
I'd think one less drug lord would be a good thing.
Well, not if they're the lesser evil. Rico Delgado was a son of a bitch, but he was our son of a bitch, plus a stabilizing factor for the whole region. Now the cartel is in the hands of Mad Dog Hector Delgado, and he's about 3 Colombian neckties away from a full-scale drug war.
The Morenos?
Somehow, the mad bastard's got it into his head that Martinez and his brother were killed by a Moreno assassin who infiltrated their ranks. He's purging his own sicarios at random, and they, in turn, are ratting on each other like 1950s Hollywood. It's a hot mess. Plays merry hell with the construction and real estate market.
Perhaps someone should take steps to retire him.
With ICA off the board? Good luck finding someone crazy enough.
It's a nice gesture, but a bit hubristic, wouldn't you say? He's not even been appointed yet.
Caution and modesty has never been Don Yates' style. Did you see the wine list?
I'm more of a beer man myself, but if Yates wants to bring the heralds closer together and play the modern boss, I don't actually mind. Edwards always was a bit aloof.
Plus, he has good reason to be confident. He is Edward's closest legal advisor. Not even Thomas Cross or Eugene Cobb had a direct line of contact. I'd say Yates is at the top of a very short list.
So, how do you feel about Burnwood?
How do you think? She and her friends killed Yamazaki, Cassidy, probably Bronson. How is she fit to be a herald? But on the other hand, people defect all the time, and she's most certainly qualified.
True. The Constant knows what he's doing. Doesn't mean we have to like it.
Oh, it's her, all right. I'm good with faces.
I thought she'd be taller.
Everyone looks tall on a stage. She's changed her hair, but that's still Tamara Vidal.
Oh, shit. She had all the pundits shaking in their boots a few years back. What was her party called again?
Future Federation. It was a kind of a crypto-fascist movement promoting meritocratic corporatocracy with a splash of transhumanism to lure in the Silicon Valley types.
Sharp dresses, though.
At Pax Mundus, we did a report about the geopolitical ramifications should future Federation ever get into office and trigger a regional surge to the right. But the party lost momentum when Vidal stepped down.
Was there some kind of scandal?
Nothing public. She just left. Must have gotten a better offer. You know how these firebrands are. Always ready to cash in some of that political capital for a corner office. Manny Russo of Goldberg and Partners calling for Vera St. Martin, please. Thank you. Mrs. St. Martin, just calling to check on those accounts we discussed. Correct? Yeah, Panama, Dominica, and Costa Rica. And my instructions were followed to the letter? Splendid. I shall inform Mr. Yates. Your guess is as good as mine. Yates's mystery client is setting up a Kafkaesque labyrinth of staggering complexity. Shell companies and phantom accounts looping in on themselves like a Mobius strip in a bad suit. I got a nosebleed just thinking about it. Okay. Between you and me, I couldn't help but follow a few breadcrumbs, and here's the strangest part. The money all seems to flow from another older shell corporation called Providence. Name rings a bell? Yes, that terrorist transmission a few months ago. Now, the thing was controlled by three families. Very old money, the Carlyles of the Carlyle Shipping Group, the Ingrams oil and steel tycoons, and the Stuyvesant real estate moguls. Yes, I see you read obituaries too. That is when I decided to do as my mentor taught me, cash my check, and mind my own goddamn business. Words to live by, yes? Well, same to you.
So, what's your take on these ICA papers? Oh, hell of a thing.
I'll say. As if we haven't had enough market turmoil this year.
It's just disgraceful how an agency like the ICA could exist and thrive for so long without the public's knowledge.
Boggles the mind.
That it does. That it does. Yeah, I do wonder, though.
Yes?
Well, just for the sake of argument, say one had an urgent problem and one found oneself without one's usual, how should I put it?
Service provider?
Yeah, precisely. Well, what I'm getting at is all those shady drug lords and foreigners and whatnot who find themselves in need of a new such provider. Well, I was just wondering how they might go about that.
Uh-huh.
Hypothetically, of course.
Right. Well, I'm clearly not the right sort of person to ask.
Of course not. Just making conversation.
I certainly wouldn't be in the possession of a phone number to one such individual.
Surely not.
And even if I were, I certainly wouldn't be inclined to pass it on.
Well, no, that would be wildly unethical.
Right. So, good talk. Food for thought. Now, if you'll excuse me, I need a shot in the arm. Ask for Stone. Good man. Reliable. And don't mention the nose.
You're joking,
Hi
right?
there, friend. This place reminds me so much of that little pied-à-terre you used to keep outside of Seville.
You know, I was just trying to place my sense of déjà vu. That's exactly it.
We should go back there soon. That place was good for us.
Okay.
Oh, isn't this just like that venue your sister used for her third wedding?
You're right. You're right. I absolutely see it.
Oh, I should have proposed to you there. Instead of on the damned yacht.
You're joking.
This place has so much in common with that property my father had in California. Don't you think?
Huh? You're absolutely right. My God, it's almost uncanny.
Oh, God, it makes me wonder why we ever left.
Okay, you must.
It's shocking how similar this estate is to the one your mother used to run, isn't it?
Surely you don't think I would have forgotten.
I never knew how much I could love a point on a map before that.
You're joking.
You remember that vineyard we visited for my 5-year anniversary at the firm?
Oh, of course. How could I forget?
I've never been more in love with you than I was with that sunset behind you.
Okay, you must.
Do you remember that month we spent in the south of France last year? Oh, this view really tickles those memories.
Of course. The hills. They're so alike. I don't know how I didn't see it immediately.
God, we were so much younger then.
You're joking, right?
I'm saying, no other law firm has this kind of brand penetration.
So, people all over the world know that Morgan, Yates, and Cohn are a bunch of soulless assholes. Good for you.
No, not good. Great. 94% of my cases never go to trial. Why? Because the moment the other side hears the name of Morgan, Yates, and Cohn, they know shit's about to get ugly. They know they're entering a Category 5 shit hurricane, and they can either settle or get neck deep in that chunky brown water.
And here I was so looking forward to the buffet.
The Chelsea Whitmore trial gave us some notoriety. Ken the Brick Morgan's affluenza defense is the stuff of legends. But really, it was the documentary about Van Orton tobacco that made us a household name. Van Orton sponsored a well drilling project in sub-Saharan Africa, only to spike the groundwater with nicotine to boost their customer base. And my friend and mentor, Don Cojones Yates, got them off on a technicality. Oh, it was beautiful.
Beauty is in the eyes of the beholder. If you'll excuse me.
Something I said?
What do we do?
I could be a wine guy, right? I mean, investing in a setup like this, running it, bringing in a famous eccentric to handle the details, that could be me.
Oh, that's rich. Weren't you telling me not 10 minutes ago that wine's just whiskey for people with their heads too far up their own asses? I believe those were your exact words.
This is different. I can feel it. I really think I'm meant for this. This is a transformative moment in my life. So maybe you could be a little more supportive. You know, I'd like to run an operation like this myself. Someday.
Last month it was horses. This month it's grapes? Well, what's it gonna be next month?
You're a terrible friend. I bet I could invest in a property like this. Maybe build it into something.
Ha! Oh, please. You couldn't even keep your daddy's firm afloat, and you want a winery?
Thank you for the vote of confidence. I never thought about getting into the wine business, but it does seem fruitful. Forgive the pun.
Yeah, sure you could. Whatever you like. Oh, I'm sure you do a great job.
The response I was looking for was more along the lines of, wow, you'd be a great winemaker? What a great idea. But thanks anyway. I've always wanted to run a winery. The class, the culture, the prestige. The well-stocked cellar. It'd suit me.
Oh, you really think you have the stick-to-itiveness for that?
Well, I appreciate your support. Seems like once you buy into an operation like this, well, it almost runs itself. It feels like it's something that might be worth getting into.
Oh, that's rich. Weren't you telling me not 10 minutes ago that wine's just whiskey for people with their heads too far up their own asses? I believe those were your exact words.
Well, fine. Don't expect me to cut you in when I'm running the most prestigious winery in Wyoming. Seems like once you buy into an operation like this, well, it almost runs itself. It feels like it's something that might be worth getting into.
Oh, for God's sake, you always do this. What was it last time? Weren't you gonna open up the world's premier exotic short-hair cattery?
Well, fine. Don't expect me to cut you in when I'm running the most prestigious winery in Wyoming.
Awful shame what happened. It was the most charming little village. Almost made it onto the UNESCO World Heritage List. Must have been some rainfall.
Yes. Terrible, terrible shame. I blame climate change. Nothing we at the Mendoza Local Council could have done about it, of course. Man plans and God laughs and all that.
So you don't think the construction of a brand new dam right on the other side of the village might have had anything to do with the flooding? The dam that conveniently redirects the underground water flow to this very vineyard, bypassing the local ban on irrigation. The very same dam that was donated by a foreign benefactor whose name is lazily Yates in reverse.
Nonsense. Mr. Sete is an honest businessman, and Mr. Yates is a pillar of the community. He would never think to break the rules. He, a gentleman of the law? You should be ashamed of yourself, ma'am. Good day to you.
I take it.
Dear, you look like the cat that got the canary. What is it?
All those parenting books we read. I just find it so funny they never prepared us for being half a world away and getting a text message that our little girl's negotiated a later bedtime from the nanny. Oh, she's going to be a real fighter in the courts someday.
Oh, look at you, the beaming little matriarch. But I haven't seen you this proud in a long while. Penny for your thoughts, honey?
Oh, I've just been thinking about the girls. I wish I'd been that assertive when I was their age. If they can stand up to their nanny, they can stand up to anyone.
They grow up so fast. God, it's stunning, isn't it? Oh, you're looking very pleased with yourself.
Oh, I was just thinking about what the au pair said about Julie, our little pugilist.
You know what they say. The apple doesn't fall far from the tree. I see that twist in the corner of your mouth, my love. What are you thinking about?
I'm remembering the look on that tutor's face when our girls let him go. We really have raised two confident, competent little angels, haven't we?
Well, you have yourself to thank for that, I'd say. You've been a remarkable role model. Well, well, don't you look pleased? Something on your mind?
It's nothing really. I was just thinking about that notice my assistant forwarded. I know I should be mad, but the fact that a girl that little managed to guess her mummy's PIN number. She's just so clever, isn't she?
You're a credit to motherhood itself, darling.
Those Yosa brothers sure are taking their sweet time.
Right? This Argentinian barbecue thing, it better be worth the wait.
It was a short stint, but they made their mark. The Ark Society will never be the same. He can take pride in that, I suppose. Still, I can't imagine what old Byron must be going through.
Zoe and Sophia burned fast and bright. Everyone knew they lived on borrowed time.
Still, his only daughters.
Byron Washington mourned his girls long ago. No, it's why they died that has him in a rage.
Right. They were assassinated, like Thomas Cross and all the others.
Well, the twins were warriors. Assassination goes with the territory. There's a kind of dignity to that. No, see, Byron runs Providence's think tank. He knows stuff the rest of us aren't privy to. And he believes Zoe and Sophia were not the real targets. They were just collateral damage in a terrorist plot to get to the Constant.
Yeah, I bet that would send him over the edge.
The way I hear it, Byron is putting together a special task force to track down the assassin. He's got the will, the connections, and the means. We'll see how invisible this guy really is.
So, who do you back for the Ark Society chairman?
Well, I try to stay out of politics. There is a lot of support for Engelhorn, Janus's man.
Christ, not that insufferable bull.
But someone is pushing hard for Blake Nathaniel, the adventurer. The same someone who got the twins appointed in the first place, I bet. Anyway, Nathaniel will continue Sophia and Zoe's bold vision.
Wine glasses?
Good.
Over there.
I want to see Titan before I cash in my chips.
You ask me, the Constant must have lost his mind. Burnwood was in league with Grey. She's responsible for killing how many of our people? How could she be a herald?
Maybe Vidal will trip her down the stairs. Those heels are an accident waiting to happen.
Don't hold your breath. Vidal is a true believer, fiercely loyal to the Constant. It must be why he chose her to show Burnwood the ropes. Figured the rest of us wouldn't forgive and forget so easily. Sneaky bastard.
The man didn't get to where he is by accident.
Johannesburg called.
And from that smirk of yours, I take it Ether is in?
Ether, Kronstadt, Hampson, Milton Fitzpatrick, Quantum Leap, Dynasty Global. All the big players now officially under the same corporate umbrella.
How does he do it?
It's also deceptively simple. The partners created a power cabal bound together by secrets and back-scratching. All the Constant did was make it real. Enter the Destiny Group, a fully legal, entirely official, supranational corporate entity. By merging, each company becomes untouchable, moving beyond any state jurisdiction. Granted, there's a certain amount of legal trailblazing yet to be done, but Yates and his team are confident it'll work out.
And where will this Destiny Group be based? Space?
No need for that. See, it just so happens that the Ark Society bought a swathe of Arctic land from Denmark.
The Hyperborea site. The world's first sovereign corporate state. Holy shit.
Not bad, huh? I guess that makes you and me ambassadors. The Constant never ceases to amaze me.
So, he really was telling the truth. The guy had no idea who he was working for.
Remind you of anyone?
That's different. We're not putting our lives on the line.
Tell that to Yamazaki and Cassidy. Hajun was shot point blank in a parking lot. Bronson was never heard from again.
Fine. I take your point.
Turns out some of Gray's militia went rogue after he joined up with Burnwood and her assassin. Idle hands and all that. This Orson Mills was caught robbing a money transport in Belgium. A few calls to the right people and he was ours. The Constant sent an ether extraction team to wring the truth out of him. But Gray had studied us, mimicked our structure. Mills was recruited by Alma Reynard, who was recruited by Sean Rose, and you get the picture. Meanwhile, I don't know if it was the interrogation drugs or just plain Stockholm Syndrome, but Orson Mills saw the light. He is now one of us.
No kidding.
He's joined the Constant's private security team. Seems there are a few vacancies after the Thornbridge Manor operation.
Well, here's to new beginnings, I suppose.
Miss Kensington. Diana Burnwood. We met in the Black Pyramid?
Ah, yes, the Herald. You're new too, if I'm not mistaken. I suppose we're both getting the lay of the land.
Suppose so. How are you settling in as head of Dynasty Global?
All I managed so far is redecorating my office. Did you know I was in the building when Mr. Pierce was thrown off the roof? I even passed his killer, Mr. Donovan, in the hallway. There's no way I could just sit in Rupert's chair after what happened.
Quite understandable. But the terrorists are all dead now, and we need to look towards the future. Providence is changing, and you're an intrinsic part of that change, Miss Kensington.
It's the best show in town. I'm in.
Glad to hear it. Mr. Quinn, Diana Burnwood. We met in the Black Pyramid.
Ah, Bronson's replacement. Cool. Good to meet you in reality. I'm told the troubles are finally over. How about it? Can I finally go back to the office? I didn't pay $2 billion for that infinity-shaped glass monstrosity just to strut around Big Sur in my boxers.
Everything is under control. The ringleaders have all been neutralized, and we haven't had a single attack in months. It's time to look forward.
Providence 2.0. Don't worry, I already drank the Kool-Aid. If this gets the FTC and the EU Commissioner for Competition off my back, I'm all game.
I'm preaching to the choir, then. We'll be in touch, Mr. Quinn.
Hey, if you ever find that poor bastard Bronson, let me know, okay? I'll pay for the funeral.
Dolores?
Why, Diana Burnwood, as I live and breathe.
I thought you were dead.
Eric Sodas forced me out on my arse after that whole Christmas party crack-up. Self-righteous prick. How is it my fault that my shit-for-brains agent decides to get cute and imitate your guy, huh?
He did manage to kill everybody except for the target.
Don't you start, too. Anyway, even after I retired, I figured the agency might be petty enough to slip some lead into my diet, so I faked my death, took on a new identity, and got the frag out of Dodge. Been living it up in the Seychelles ever since. Couldn't believe my luck when I saw my old name in the data leak. Figured I was the only one of us still at large. Of course, I suppose now I know who took a shit in ICA's oatmeal. Good for you, dear.
It wasn't... Well, it's complicated.
It was good to see you, Diana. Oh, and if you see that agent of yours, tell him to stop showing off. Accidents and death traps, ridiculous.